All right, so video is going to show you how and why starting your own Forex investment company from the very beginning is not only one of the quickest as well as practical ways. And what I mean by that is, yes, there are some people who make $30 and then turn that into 30,000 in a month. Yes, there's people that do that. Is that the majority? No. But can the majority of you make money sooner than if you were trading for yourself by having other experts doing all the hard work for you? Yes. And I'm going to show you why this strategy that I have implemented and that I have refined and tweaked is going to get you on the right track to being a real, true Forex investor. So I just want to tell you what this video is not. This video is not about trading for yourself, okay? In this video, if you are intimidated by trading Forex or you just don't have the time, this is for people who don't have the time. They work a full-time job, they go to school, they have a family, they have other passions that they want to pursue, and learning how to master Forex in the trading sense is not one of them. This is for people who are good at managing, who are leaders, who are good at supporting employees, because with this strategy, you will have employees. At the very minimum, it will be two, and they will not be at the same time. So you're going to be using signals, which I will explain what they are later in the video, to have experts trade, doing the hard work for you, and getting other people to do the trading for you so that you make all the money. All right, so let's get to it. See my little notes here. I got my notes. All right. So the first thing you're going to need to do is get a business license. Yes, yes, yes. I know you want to start and just turn this into some hustle. I get it. But you want to start by getting a business license. Find one of the cheapest businesses. I'm sorry, one of the cheapest states. If your state is a lot of money, look at the rules for that though, because you may need to have a physical location, or you may just need to pay the money that your state is asking. Like I know Georgia, like I know Georgia is 100, which is a lot because Delaware used to be like $35, like no lie. So the reason why you want to get a business license first is because this is how the Forex market works. You're going to be having people trade for you, which is illegal if they don't have an investor's license. But there is one very great law that has a, what do you call it? I forget, amendment. That's the best way to put it. So the only way somebody can trade for you without having a business license is if they are your employee for your investment company, which is called a family office. I will drop the link on more information on that, all the information you need to understand that. But as long as that person that is trading for you is your employee, you can have them trade for you without them having to have an investment license. So you need to do everything the right way. The other reason why you want to get a business license is because you are going to write up agreements to protect you with these traders that are making your money for you. So if you don't have a legitimate family office and you try to sue this person, the judge is not going to grant you the money. In fact, they're going to probably press some type of charge, possibly against you, because you have been having somebody trade for you who doesn't have a license. So you can't sue somebody for doing something wrong when you did something wrong in the first place, too. This is why you need a business license, okay? So this is what I recommend. So you're going to need a business license. You're going to need the money to start your signal, to pay for the signal service, and you're going to need the investment money. You can start off with $100 to invest. It's going to cost you anywhere from $50 a month to $100. No, $50 to a month, or if you use the one that I recommend the most, it'll be $100 one time. So that's anywhere from $150 to $200 plus the cost of the business license. Write this down, guys. Take notes. Take your investment career and your life as a real-time investor seriously, and take down notes, because I am not making image after image and heading after heading, because I don't have a video editing software that does that. I can't find one that I like that does that. So I would have to make pictures, and I'm a perfectionist, and I apologize, but I'm not doing that, okay? So take down notes. So where's my notes? All right. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a broker. I recommend lmfx.com because they don't charge any withdrawal fees to take your money out. The only thing you would have to pay to withdraw your money when you're ready to profit is the fee that your specific bank charges, because they are international, okay? So I recommend LMFX, but it's completely up to you. You're going to want to deposit your money, and then you're also going to want to get MetaTrader 4 info, because this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be finding somebody to trade your $100 for you that already trades for themselves. There's gonna come a lot of there's gonna be a lot of scam artists that you may run into that are telling you, "Oh, I need your broker username and password." No, that's how they steal your money. All they need is your MetaTrader 4 username for your specific account, because you can have multiple accounts under one account that you trade. So they need the specific account username that you want them to trade, and then they need what's called the trader's password. This way they can trade your money, but they cannot withdraw your money. Okay? That's probably the most important thing that you're ever going to need to know in this video. If I didn't leave you with anything, I left you with that. Okay? Don't get burned. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is find somebody who will trade for you. Now, I do want to say this. You don't need the money for the signals right away. You can even grow your $100 into the amount of money that you will need to pay for your signals, okay? So we'll get to that later. But you're going to need to find somebody that will trade for you. I recommend the Facebook group Consistent Forex Pips. With this group, this man is also one of the signal services that I recommend in the later on in this video. But this group is full of traders that either are trading with their own account because they know how to do it, because they've been trained by Bruce, the guy that started the Consistent Forex Pip group, or they are just in the group because they just want to be in the group and they trade. But if you do your research, you can find statuses in this group where this is what I even recommend you doing. Once you get approved for that group, this is what you should do. Bruce likes to say stuff like, "Oh, if you're a trader, comment $100." Or if you ready to use my signals, comment $100, blah, 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 blah. It'll be like 60, 40, 30 comments of traders. That's one of the ways that I found my trader. that trades for me. So this is what I recommend you do. You're going to have to put some effort into it, but I'm telling you, it is so worth it. It's better than hoping that you turn 30 into 3,000 or 30,000 in a month, right? Thinking that you can be one of the top 5% when that's more of a risk than taking the time out to do something more practical. So that's what you should do. Find somebody to trade this $100 for you. The most that person should be taking in exchange is 30%. Now, you may find somebody that uses Bruce's signals to their own account and they would be willing to trade for you. That's great. You may also find somebody who trades on their own and they'd be willing to trade for you using whatever they do on their account on your account, just in smaller amounts. Okay, so do your research. If you absolutely can't find anybody, I can try and help you because I do know some people. But I can't help everybody. And this isn't necessarily a video that's meant to go viral or anything. This is for people that I have talked to, that I don't want to repeat myself to, that they can go back and rewind. They can watch at their leisure. My friends, my acquaintances, things like that, that I talk to about Forex and that want to do Forex. Okay. So when looking for a good trader, again, don't ask, when you're talking to them, ask them, all I need is your MetaTrader 4, all you need is my MetaTrader 4 info, right? If they tell you that you need to give them your username and password to your broker account, don't deal with them. If they can't send you any proof of what they've done in the past and they're promising you all this money, don't do it. If they are just a part-time trader, like if that's not what they do for a living, I highly recommend you find somebody else. Find somebody who is a full-time trader. That means that 9 times out of 10, they have a proven track record, that they have proven to themselves, and they are consistent with their profits. Okay? That's another important piece. If you're going to find somebody that does it part-time, okay, that's on you. But 9 times out of 10, they're part-time because they're not good enough to be full-time. Because if they were making money with Forex full-time, and then they wouldn't need to do anything else, and they wouldn't make Forex part-time. Some people just, some people, if you're going to get somebody that's going to use Bruce's signals, and they do it, part-time, they may not do it as a job, then that may work because they're not using their expertise. They're using Bruce's expertise and just putting the trades in. Okay? All right. So what you're going to want to do is get this account from $100 or how much ever you start with to at least $1,100. Once you get to $1,100, you're good. You don't need to go any further with this trader. In other words, after they take their 30%, you should have $1,100 left. Thank them for their time and go to this next step. So the next thing you're going to do is buy the signal service. This means you have successfully given it months. Give it about 6 months, 3 to 8 months, okay, to get your account up to 1,000. You got to be patient. But I'm telling you, if you already have a job, if you're in school, you pay your bills, you're not treating this like a get-rich-quick scheme, but you just want something that's effective, that is practical, low risk, then follow these steps, okay? So I recommend 2 signal services for this specific plan, this specific strategy of opening your own investment company. Bruce's, which is Living Lavish, is the second. It's number 2. His signals are $50 a month. If you're a member of his group, he will consistently tell you how much money, how many pips his signals have been earning each day and each week. And so you don't have anything to worry about that. You can join a group, look around the group while you're waiting for your account to go up to 1100. But he's constantly talking about how much he's been earning. He's been consistent, and he is definitely somebody that you want to be around, because this man made $160,000 this year. This is 2017. That's how much money he made, and it's November. So he still got more money to make. You know what I mean? He's been a successful trader for years. He trains people, he mentors people. That's what he did initially, and he now has a signal service. The only reason why he's number 2 and not number 1 is one reason. He doesn't trade 8 a.m. through 5 p.m. only. Sometimes he may trade at nighttime. And if you are trying to get somebody to trade using these signals, which is what you're going to be doing, you don't want to have to make it inconvenient for that person. Because he trades, from my understanding, he trades all 3 markets. He trades the Asian market, he trades the London market, and he trades the US market. And you don't want to miss his pips. You want to make as much money as you possibly can. You know, if you're comfortable and you just like Bruce and you're willing to say, hey, I'm going to hire somebody that works only does his 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. signals, that's on you, but I don't recommend that. I recommend that there's money out there, especially if you're going to be hiring somebody, which means you're going to be paying them a percentage of the profit. You might as well go hard or go home. But it's totally up to you. He's a great trader, and he purposely made his signals affordable in a market where people charge $100, $300, thousands of dollars a month for signals. Okay, so number 1 is trade_profit on Instagram. It's spelled exactly how it sounds, nothing fancy. Trade, the symbol, the underscore symbol, and profits. Let me double check to make sure it's not an S at the end, or if it is. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it's no S. So it's trade_profit. Okay. These guys, I have been watching their progress. They constantly post their progress on Instagram. I have talked to them personally to ask them questions. They trade from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They trade the New York market only. So this is why it's number 1. Because for one, it's perfect for hiring somebody, because you're probably wondering, why not use the person that you found already to trade using the signals? Well, this is the thing. You can do that if the person that you found is using Bruce's signals. Go for it. Hire them as an employee, sign a contract, make the money, keep it moving. But if you found somebody that trades for themselves full time, they're not going to want to be a slave to the phone and have to catch somebody else's signals. It's bad enough they're managing their own account when it comes to like analyzing charts for hours and hours every week. They only want to focus their mind on their signals, their trades. So you're just going to want to do a good karma service to them and say, hey, I'll give you a percentage because really, I'll be honest with you, like, there isn't effort really at all in trading for somebody else. Some people have performance anxiety, so that is something to think about. So I would be encouraging to them, don't pressure them, don't bug them and say, oh, how long is it going to take you? Because then you're putting too much pressure on them that they didn't have, and you don't want them to try to impress you or to try to overtrade to try to please you, okay? And then they end up losing and blowing losing 50% of your account, okay? What you want to do is just encourage them, say no pressure, You know, you're a boss now. They're your employee now. You know, no pressure. You know, just do your best. The money will make itself in time. I believe in you. You know what I mean? And be genuine. So, with that being said, when they're trading for you, how it works is they look at the trade they look on the charts for the trade, they find a good trade, they go into their account, they put the trade in their account, they log out, and they go into your account and put the same trade into their account. Then they log back into theirs. That's it. So this is another reason why you want to have somebody who is willing to trade your account at $100, which is usually people who work full time as a trader, because they are not going to see the problem in the effort that it takes. Now, if you find somebody else to trade for you that trades Bruce's signals and they're willing to trade for you only $100, you're lucky, because most people that a lot of times, like, people are gonna say, "Oh, you only have $100." Well, you know, I want to make a profit, because they want to have multiple clients. Like, that's kind of how the conversation is gonna go. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna, because 9 times out of 10, the person that you may find that trades Bruce's signals probably doesn't trade for anybody else. So you're gonna have to try to be fancy with how you talk to them. Don't be like, "Oh, you can trade for multiple people," because what's going to happen is they're going to get bougie and they're going to be like, "Oh, well, you need to give me at least $1,000, because I'm not going to make anything." Find somebody who's humble, find somebody who wants to help you and who believes in you and has already been making money with Bruce. And if they work with only $100, you have a lifetime trader, if or for however long they want to trade. If you find somebody that trades themselves without signals, the only reason why they're gonna do it for 100 is because, well, the reason why they're going to do it for 100 is because they believe in themselves, they believe in their track record, they know they can do it for you, and it's not too much pressure for them to do. Okay, because they're only just putting trades in, they're not adding any more work to their load. Okay, but once you get up to 1,000, you know, you don't want to be in their way. Now, if you work out a deal where they continue to trade for you and this person makes anywhere from 600 or more pips a week after the negative pips, then stay with them. But the reason why you want to go to a signal service is because Trade Profit and Bruce have a very high pip amount. And if you don't know what pips are the increments of change on a chart that a currency does. So if the currency is at $1.50 and it goes up a dollar and it goes up to $2, it just went up 50 pips in the most basic way of understanding it. Like, don't worry about the specifics. That may not be exactly right. It may be zero point 0.5 pips. It may not necessarily be 50. But my point is that those pips are what makes you money, because your positive pips times your price times your price per pip that you earn per pip determines how much money you make. So you may only find somebody that can trade for you that only gets 300 pips a week. That's okay, because you're only trying to get it to 1,000. You're not trying to maximize your money right now. You don't have to don't be greedy, be patient. Okay? But like companies like Trade Profit, they get anywhere from, at the most they get like 3,000 in a week. Yes, 3,000. So when you factor in how many pips they lost, it may be about what, 2,500, 2,700 pips. But if you are at $1,000 and you just started out and they made um a 2,500 pips, if your account if you're trading 1% of your account of the 1,000, which is what's 1%? That's $10. $10. It's kind of don't quote me on this because give me some time because I'm kind of rough on this. I haven't been dealing with lot numbers in a couple weeks. $10 is gonna. I know $1 is gonna get you 10 cents per pip. Okay, $10 is gonna get you $1 per pip. Okay, so for that first week, let's say they get 2,500 pips, positive pips. You just made $2,500 in a week. Now, are you gonna complain? Okay, so after talking to them, I asked them, after your negatives, how many are you going to get after your negative pips? How many do you average? And they didn't really give me an average. They were just realistic with me. They were like, most weeks it's usually about 400 to 600 at the lowest. Sometimes they may get 200. Sometimes they may get zero, but that's not common for them because they're a very good PIP company, you know. But they're being realistic before I pay them my money. You see what I'm saying? They're being realistic. So that's the risk that you take. But if you just made $2,500 last week and and you don't make anything next week, I mean, you and the person trading for you really shouldn't have a problem. You know what I mean? Because next week, the third week, you're gonna 9 times out of 10 make that money back. Now, if they end up getting 0 pips, it's not necessarily because of their skill. It has more so to do with the fact that they may have been sick. They may have had a family emergency, something like that. You see what I'm saying? Or just the market may just sometimes the market just has those weeks where it's just unpredictable, and that's the give and take with forex. But when the month is all out, when the month is said and done, you know what I'm saying, you're going to come out on top with these signal services, whether you use Bruce's or whether you use Trade Profits. Now, how much Trade Profit costs is great because it only costs $100 one time, a lifetime membership to Signals for only $100. So this is a great opportunity, a great signal service to get into, and you will be able to join with Trade Profit. You'll join a group and you'll be able to talk to the different forex traders in there, and you'll just have a community around you. Okay, so what you're going to do once you get this signal service is you're going to I recommend going on Craigslist and finding people in the gig section to trade your money for you. Really think about what your title is going to be. Definitely explain the income that you're going to give them, which would be 30%, or you can give them more. It's totally up to you. But I recommend 30%. Let them know that what I would recommend doing also, that's another thing you're going to have to pay for, is a background check. You're going to want to state in your post that you do background checks. Now, I don't recommend any specific website, but I will say that find something that's reasonable because you don't have to pay a lot. What you can do is you can get a monthly subscription, pay a month's worth for like $20, and then you can search as many people as you want for $20 a month. Okay, so I recommend something like that. So with that being said, let them know you're not looking to hire a crook. You're not looking to hire people who have a theft background, and that you do background checks. Okay. And let them know how much money they can make. Let them know in the beginning that, they 30, okay, let's say, where is my calculator? I got this new MacBook Pro. And, okay, Launchpad. Calculator. Alright. So let's say for the first week you got 800 pips, right? That's $800. 800 times 30 is $240 for the first week. Now, you can pay them bi-weekly, you can pay them weekly, but let's say they got 800 for the second week. That means you made 240, I'm sorry, times 2. They're going to make 480. But you have to explain them. You have to be very thorough in how you explain things. I would even recommend getting a Word document, typing out, right, getting a logo, typing out the expectations in the first couple of weeks so that you can find somebody who's not going to say, dude, like I only made 240 this week. What am I doing? Because once you show them like a projection chart of how much they'll be making in the coming weeks, then they will stay. You might want to market to people who are stay-at-home moms, people who work from home, people who are college students, people that can afford to trade from 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. You see what I'm saying? People that are willing to grind it out with you in the first couple weeks and to get the big profit. Because what happens with Forex is you trade and your account grows exponentially when you use 1% risk management or more. So the reason why I recommend 1% risk management when using these signals and having somebody trade for you with your $1,000 is because, and I got this quote from one of the top traders in Florida. He told me that if you use 1% of if you only trade 1% of 1,000 or 1% of whatever is in your account as it starts to grow, it's going to take 1,000 negative pips for you to blow your account, which is crazy because 9 times out of 10, it's really hard to blow an account with 1,000 pips because you may have with the trade profit, you may for that week you may have gotten negative 200 pips, right? So your account isn't blown. But that's the worst case scenario. They don't usually they're good traders. They've been in the business for a while. They don't get negative weeks, okay? So with that being said, what my point is here is that they may get negative 200 pips, but they also may have gotten 1,000 pips, positive pips, okay? So that averages that after the negative pips is minused out, you profited 800 pips, okay? So where was I going with this? I totally forgot. Holy cow. Well, let's put it like this. Oh, your account is going to grow exponentially. So, let's say you started out, this is important information to write down. And I recommend doing a projection chart for the first coming months of your account. So you can, telling your employee what to expect. So the reason why this account grows, that's what I was saying. If you use 1% risk management, it's going to take 1,000 pips to blow the account, and 9 times out of 10 you really don't have to worry about getting a negative week. And if you get a negative week, so what? Okay, I like to be realistic and I like to cover all bases. I don't like to sell people a dream and then they're mad at me because you never know what may happen, but that's the risk that you take. And that's why you should research that's why I researched a good signal service so you can be confident in knowing that you're getting quality signals and not going based on your own research, alone. So with that being said, even if you have a negative week, you're going to get that money back. Okay, so that's not to worry. But in normal general cases, you're not going to get negative pips the first week, the second week that you start. Okay. But I will say this. It may take a couple weeks for you to get into the 1,000 pip range because the 1,000 pips are an accumulation of pips from the previous week, that trades that have been open from the previous week and that are just now closing, as well as new trades from that week. So if you start the first week, you're not going to get what you didn't pay for. You're only going to get what that first week's worth of pips. So be realistic in your explanation when you are interviewing these people about this position. But I promise you, all you need is one person, and you'll find that one person. There's 50 states and there's 50 Craigslist US sites, and you will find somebody, okay? Just be patient and be confident and be positive. So, what this is why your account is going to grow exponentially, which you may need some explanation on, which is called compounding in forex, and that's when you grow your account at an exponential level. For those of you that don't know what, or don't know quite what exponential means, it means it multiplies every week. So exponential on a graph looks like something that started off real slow and then went up real fast, spiked up real fast. So for the first week, in other words, you might make $1,000. The next week, you might make $2,000. The third week, you might make $3,000. But this is why, because when you start off with 1,000, and you make 1,000 that first week, for example, let's say, yeah, let's just for explanation purposes, you make 1,000 that first week. You now have $2,000 that second week. So that second week, you have more money to trade with because you're using 1% risk management. Okay, so now instead of trading 1% of 1,000, which is 10, you're trading 1% of 2,000, which is 20. So you're going to be able to make more money that week. So for the second week, you have started out with 2,000, but because you're trading more with more money, and let's say you did 1,000 pips the second week, you will have made not 1,000, but you'll have made 2,000 because $2 times 1,000 is 2,000. Remember, because your lot size went up and your 1% went up from $20 per trade, to 20 from $10 per trade to $20 per trade. That means you're going to get $2 per pip. 1,000 pips times $2 is 2,000. So now you have $4,000 because remember, you started off. You see what I'm saying? So 1 week you have 1,000. The second week you make 2,000. The third week you make 4,000. That's exponential growth. This doesn't have to stop. I know a lot of traders that get really conservative because, hey, they're not in a rush to make millions of dollars. You see what I'm saying? So they may always use, no matter how much money grows, they may only use 1.1 lots or 10 lots or 30 lots. Because what happens is when your money grows and you're compounding, as long as you're at 1%, that amount that you make every week is going to grow. And every week it's going to grow, not just, this is assuming you average out 1,000 a week. But when all is said and done on a monthly basis, you should be increasing your monthly amount at an exponential rate. Okay. So, what was I going to say? Gosh darn it. Pause it and write some notes. But what was I going to say? I had a really good point. Oh. Because you don't have to trade. Like, as your account is growing, even if your account was at 1,000, you may trade one lot size, like one lot, right? And then when it gets to 5,000, you're still trading one lot, okay? And then when it gets to 10,000, you're still trading one lot. You don't have to do that. That's just being very conservative. Remember, as long as you're trading 1% of whatever's in your account, it's going to take 1,000 pips for you to blow your account. No matter if your account is at $1 million and you're trading $50,000 at a time, or whether you're trading $10 at a time, as long as you're trading 1% of whatever you have in your account, you can go ahead and trade that money knowing that it's going to take 1,000 pips for it to blow. So whatever you lose, you will make back with the solid signal service like Trade Profit or Bruce's Signals. And you're using 1% risk management. So it's going to take 1,000. Okay. So let your money compound and show and explain this to your future employee. Let them know, yeah, we're going to make like $100, $240, $500 the first 2 weeks. But once they understand how Forex works, which is great when they already do, those are the great ones to talk to. But even if they don't, once they understand how Forex works and you let them know that your amount that you're trading increases each week or each month in this case, then they are going to stick with you. Because if you get, let's say you gave it a month, which is about 4 weeks, right? And let's say the first week you made 1,000. Second week you made 2,000. Third week you made 4,000. Fourth week you made 8,000 because it's exponentially growing, right? That is $15,000, right? $15,000, 30% of $15,000 is $4,500. And that's just the first month. So let's say the second month you have $15,000, right? The first week you make 10,000. Second week you make 15,000. Third week, oh shoot, I did something wrong here. Gosh darn it. Okay. You should be doing these numbers yourself too. Or a similar example. First week of the second month, you make. Oh, I'm pressing times instead of plus. No wonder. First week you make 10,000. Second week you make 15,000 because it's compounding. Third week you make 20,000. Fourth week you make 28,000. Right? That's 88,000. 30% of 88,000 is $26,000. This is what you need to show your employee. Now, if you show them this, they will stick with you. Okay? They will stick with you. Okay? No doubt about it. But you just have to be upfront. You have to let them know that it is a certain level of risk, medium to low risk. It's not high risk. This plan isn't a high risk plan whatsoever because Trade Profit and Bruce are expert traders. You're taking out years of practice. You can, like, I even talked to one guy that has a signal service, and the only reason why I recommend him is because he only trades in the middle of the night, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But nonetheless, he made $90,000 in September of 2017, and he doesn't compound his account. He trades. He does. How many lots does he do? He does 1.5 lots, which is $15 a pip. So he averaged, if for him to make $90,000, right? And I'm saying this to say that there are good signal services out there that get a high amount of pips. He's one of them. So if he had $90,000 in 1 month and he was getting $15 per pip, that means he made 6,000 pips for that month. And when I was in his group, because I paid for his signal service, this dude was really getting that much. Like, it was crazy. I'm like, how are you doing this? And one of the ways that they do it, just so you don't, you know what to expect, because they may not tell you to do this, but I'm going to tell you to do this. What happens is, and before, disclaimer, you're going to have to understand Forex a little bit to understand what I'm getting ready to explain to you. But this is what I want to say. How it works is they usually have 3 different take profits, okay? They have the first take profit, the second take profit, the third take profit. So what they're going to do is they're going to open up one trade on MetaTrader, and it's only going to go up to the first take profit. Then they're going to have the second trade. It's going to be the exact same starting point, but the take profit is going to be to the second take profit that they give you. They're going to give you all 3 at the same time. And then the third trade is going to be the same starting at the same position as the first 2, but the take profit is going to be the third take profit. So what happens is you are going to make, in a sense, triple the pips off of 1 pip. So give me 1 second, guys. I have a little distraction here. So, okay, go away, distraction. So, what I mean by that is, let's say the first take profit is 100 pips. You're going to get 100 pips from that first one, that second one, and that third one. So, essentially, you're going to get at a minimum, if let's say you're going to get at a minimum 300 pips. Okay? So that's the first take profit. So then when those 2 last trades that are open, when it hits the second take profit, that's usually about like 500 pips. So minus the first 100. So 400 times 2 is 800. So that 800 times, let me get my calculator out again. The 800 plus the 300 is 1100, right? Yeah. So that's already 1,000 pips that they got. You see what I'm saying? This is why they are able to pretty much get thousands of pips a week. Because 1 week you may have gotten 300 pips from the first couple of days of a trade, but the trade from last week just hit 500 pips, but you have 2 trades open for that 500, so you really made 1,000. You see what I'm saying? So this is why they get the 600 to 3,000 pip range. I want to be as thorough as possible with you guys because I don't want you to be confused, and I don't want you to feel like you can't find the help that you need. All right, I want to give you as much help as I've gotten. So this is how you're going to trade. And if you need more clarity on this whole what I'm talking about with opening the 3 different trades, just know that you're protected because you're using a take profit and using a stop loss as well. So what happens is when you have these 3 trades open, right? The first trade being the first take profit, the second trade being the second take profit, plus the first, and the third being all 3 take profits. What happens is when that first take profit hits, it's going to hit on all 3 trades. So what you're going to do is you're going to close out your first trade, and then you're going to move your stop loss of the second trade to the take profit of the first trade so that you protect yourself from losing any money that you just made. That secures that money. Some people do it like that. Some people do it a slightly different. But however way they do it, they make sure that they are protecting what they just made, okay? Um Now that I think about it, there with the other guy that I bought that trades in the middle of the night, which I think is so ridiculous. Um oh, what technique did he did the same technique, but his stop loss when he secured the first take profit, his stop loss was a little different. I think his stop loss was I think his stop loss, I think he moved his stop loss and for the second and third trade. I think he made it I think he made it the starting point of all three of the trades. So some traders tell you to make, when you first secure your first take profit, make your second trade's stop loss, move it from the initial stop loss to the take profit of the first one. Some tell you to do that. Others will tell you to make the second stop loss, that you changing the stop loss to the starting point of all three of the first initial ones, so that you secured your first one, you close out that trade. But trade, if that second trade, since that second trade is now in the range of the first take profit, if it ever ends up going back down and it hits the stop loss will be the starting point of all three of the trades, whereas initially it was lower than that. You see what I'm saying? So it's actually going up. But what happens is, if you make your second stop loss for the second trade the starting point of all three of the initial trades, and it hits that stop loss, it's going to just cancel out and be zero. You're not going to lose any more money. You're going to get to keep that first stop loss. And then you didn't get the second stop loss. I mean, you didn't get the second take profit or the third take profit, which happens sometimes, but you're not losing what you already made either. Okay. Now, that's what they tend to do. Now, when it comes to making your second stop loss the take profit of the first take profit, that's kind of risky, because a lot of times what happens is, before it hits the second take profit, it might dance back below the first take profit again. You never know. So you want to give it breathing room, and it's okay to give it breathing room as when you make the stop loss the starting point, which is a preferred way, because again, you're giving it room, and if it does hit that stop loss, hey, you still made that 100 pips or 200 pips on that first take profit, or 300 pips really, because they're all, wait, was it 300? Wait a minute. Okay, let's put it like this. And this is the point I was trying to make. Whether you're talking to Bruce or you're talking to Trade Profit, or you're talking to the other guy that I won't mention, and the other company that I won't mention in this, they have different there's two main different ways to secure your profits. Um the two that I remember is, again, making your new stop loss the 0 point that you guys started with, or making your new stop loss, the first take profit, which I don't recommend. But there's a third one, and I don't remember what it is. But all I know is there is one way where you can you can secure those 300 pips of the 100 pip each per take profit, like, in other words, or per that first take profit. In other words, you open the three trades. One trade has the first take profit, the second trade has the first and the second, the third trade has the first, second, and third. So when the first take profit hits, they all hit, so you make 300 pips. There is a way to secure it, i think I think. But this is the thing, when it comes to signal services, they're going to give you a good amount of signals every week. So if you do make 100 pips off of one trade, you made 100 pips off of one trade. You still have anywhere from 8 to 15 more trades to go. And this is what's going to get you in those 1,000 pip ranges. those 3,000 pip ranges. Now, and I'm going to say this, look on Trade underscore Profits Instagram page. You will see that he consistently makes a good amount of pips. And he's not showing every single thing that he makes. He's just updating the page. You see what I'm saying? To give it content. So talk to him yourself. Ask him. You don't take my word for it. Ask him what his average pip weekly is, and he'll tell you. You know what I mean? Um, and you know this is legitimate as a legitimate company. The reason why I know is that they pay through PayPal. They are not trying to take all of your money. It's $100 one time. And they have, when they show their pips that they make, they show the analysis. You see what I'm saying? So they show you what they're working with and what they were doing and how they were coming to their conclusion. And they're showing you the actual chart. Nobody is going to spend their time making up. They could be making it all up, but that means that they're risking people that know how to read charts finding out that it's all a big lie. So it's just something to think about. You know what I mean? Don't take my word for it. If you want to use another signal service, by all means, go with what works for you. But this is the plan that I have. Okay? So, yeah, guys. This is why starting your own investment company is the easiest way to go, the less time consuming, and excuse me, and one of the less risky. All right, with not that much money to start. You don't need thousands of dollars right away, you know. So yeah, and you don't need to quit your day job either. You can have somebody trade for you. So if you guys have any questions, just hit me up. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, my name is Aisha, also known as, oh, I didn't say that in the beginning, also known as Lavender, also known as Kemi, and I am out of here.